When God is preparing to bless you with something significant, He often reveals signs along the way. Many believers miss these signs because they expect blessings to arrive without challenges. However, the process of receiving a great blessing is often marked by divine signals, trials, and moments of deep transformation. Understanding these signs will help you remain steadfast and expectant, knowing that God is about to move mightily in your life. Let's explore 10 biblical signs that indicate God is about to give you something big. 1. Intense opposition and spiritual warfare. Before a major breakthrough, intense spiritual battles often arise. The enemy knows that God is about to elevate you, and he will try to discourage and distract you. This opposition may manifest through obstacles at work, strained relationships, unexpected financial difficulties, or even battles within your mind. Consider Nehemiah rebuilding the wall. When Nehemiah set out to rebuild Jerusalem's walls, opposition arose from Sanballat, Tobiah, and others. Nehemiah 4 verses 1-3. They mocked, threatened, and tried to stop the work. Yet Nehemiah remained steadfast, prayed, and completed the mission. Likewise, when you face resistance at every turn, it may be a sign that you are on the verge of something great. The devil does not attack what is not a threat to his kingdom. If you find yourself under spiritual attack, press on, because God is about to establish you in a mighty way. 2. Unexplainable delays and waiting seasons. God's biggest blessings often require patience. Waiting is not denial, it is preparation. Sometimes God delays a blessing so you could develop the character, wisdom, and spiritual maturity to handle it. It can be frustrating to wait, but remember that God's timing is perfect. Consider Abraham and Sarah. God promised Abraham that he would be the father of many nations, Genesis 12 verse 2. Yet, he and Sarah waited decades for Isaac's birth. In that waiting, their faith was tested, but God remained faithful. Sometimes, God withholds certain blessings because they are too heavy for us to carry prematurely. If you're in a prolonged waiting season, it may mean God is refining you so that when the blessing comes, you can sustain it. 3. Divine disruptions and uncomfortable changes. Sometimes, God shakes up your life to position you for something greater. This could be the loss of a job, relocation, the end of a relationship, or an unexpected shift in plans. What may seem like a setback is often a setup for your breakthrough. Consider Joseph's journey to the throne in Egypt. Joseph had dreams of greatness, but his path to fulfillment included betrayal, slavery, and imprisonment. Genesis 37 verses 5-28. Each painful step positioned him for his ultimate role as Egypt's second-in-command. If God is shifting things in your life, trust that He is making room for something better. Often, God removes us from familiar places to stretch our faith and prepare us for His next assignment. 4. A deep sense of restlessness. Before God moves you into a new season, you may feel a strong dissatisfaction with your current situation. This isn't a sign of ingratitude, but of divine stirring. You might feel an urgency to grow, change, or move in a new direction. Consider Moses' restlessness before his deliverance of the Israelites. Moses grew up in Pharaoh's palace, but he felt an unshakable burden for his enslaved people. Exodus 2 verses 11-12. That restlessness was a sign of his calling. Similarly, if you feel uneasy about where you are, it may mean God is preparing you for a shift. Pay attention to that holy discontent. It may be leading you to your destiny. 5. God removes certain people from your life. Not everyone is meant to go with you into your next season. God will sometimes allow relationships to end to protect and prepare you for something greater. When certain friendships suddenly fade or mentors distance themselves, do not be discouraged. God is making room for divine connections. Consider Gideon's army and how God pruned them down. Before Gideon could defeat the Midianites, God reduced his army from 32,000 to 300, Judges 7 verses 2-7. Many of those around him were not ready for the battle ahead. Likewise, God often removes people who cannot handle the weight of your next blessing. Trust that those who remain are meant to be part of your journey. 6. Unusual confirmation through dreams and visions. God often speaks through dreams and visions before a major breakthrough. These messages may come as repeated themes in dreams, prophetic words from others, or an undeniable sense of direction. Consider Daniel and Nebuchadnezzar's dream interpretation. Daniel interpreted King Nebuchadnezzar's dream, which revealed future kingdoms and God's sovereignty. Daniel 2 verses 19 to 23. This ultimately led to Daniel being elevated and exalted in the kingdom of Babylon. If you are receiving repetitive dreams or prophetic words, it may be God revealing your next step. Pay attention and seek confirmation through prayer. 7. Uncommon favor in unlikely places. When God is about to bless you, He will cause doors to open in places you least expect. This favor may come in the form of job opportunities, financial breakthroughs, or unexpected helpers. Consider Queen Esther before the king. Esther was an orphan, yet she found favor with the king and became queen, ultimately saving her people. Esther 2 verse 17. If you are receiving unexpected favor, it may be a divine setup for something greater. God often aligns people and circumstances to propel you into His perfect will. 8. A sudden increase in tests and challenges. Sometimes, life gets harder right before a major blessing. This is not to break you, but to prepare you. The enemy often intensifies attacks because he senses that your breakthrough is near. Consider the story of Job. Job lost everything, but after enduring his trials, God restored him with double blessings. Job 42 verse 10. If you're facing intense trials, hold on. Your blessing is near. Trials often come before triumphs. 9. A stronger desire for prayer and fasting. Before a big breakthrough, God often calls His people to deeper intimacy through prayer and fasting. If you suddenly feel led to seek God more fervently, it is often a sign that something is about to shift in your life. Consider Jesus before His ministry. Before Jesus began His public ministry, He fasted for 40 days and nights. Matthew 4 verses 1 to 11. If you feel led to fast and pray, it may be a sign that God is preparing you for something significant. Press in and seek His face. 10. Supernatural peace in the midst of chaos. One of the strongest signs that God is about to bless you is a sense of peace despite surrounding troubles. Consider Paul and Silas in prison. Paul and Silas were imprisoned, yet they worshiped God joyfully. Suddenly, an earthquake freed them. Acts 16 verses 25 to 26. When you have peace in trials, it's a sign that God is about to move mightily. Conclusion: trust God's process. If you're experiencing one or more of these signs, don't be discouraged. Rejoice. God is preparing you for something big. Stay faithful, keep praying, and trust His timing. God is working behind the scenes. Be patient, stay expectant, and watch as He unfolds His greater plan in your life. Has this message spoken to you? Share your testimony in the comments and encourage someone else who might need this word.